So I want to talk about goals for 2024 because I just added a big one to my list. I have signed up for the Carabasset Backcountry Cycle Challenge. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's just a mountain bike race, and it's got a variety of different lengths. There's a 25K, there's a 50K, which is super popular. I think it's sold out in like 20 minutes. I got up super early and I signed up for the 100K. So 100 kilometers, I think, translates to about 62 miles. And I think the course may change a little bit from year to year, but it's basically riding a bunch of the single track all over Carabasset Valley. The full 100K, I think, is about 6,500 feet of climbing. So 62 miles, 6,500 feet of climbing in one day. You might, I mean, I suppose you could ask why I want to do this, but there's lots of people who want to do long races like that. And I think a better question is maybe, why do I think that I even can? The answer to that goes back to the Mountain Madness race last year. Now, I did a whole video on that, so if you want to see my experience there, click up here right now. There's a little thing you can click on. You can just see that video. So that race was also a single day thing. It was just climb up Mount Abram, come back down, keep doing that. And over the course of the day, I covered about 22 miles and about 4,800 feet of climbing. So not half the distance of that 100K, not even all that close to half the distance of 100K, but it was more than half of the climbing. Now, I was pretty beat when I left that race, but I did have to leave early, so I feel like I could have probably gone a little bit farther than that. And it's worth pointing out that I did that riding on a 35-pound aluminum enduro bike, the whole thing, which was, in retrospect, not the right tool for that job, but it was fun on the downhill, so that was great. And I also did it without having done any kind of intentional training at all. I just was sort of riding my bike, and then I went and did the race, and I rode my bike, and then that was it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I really kind of surprised myself with just how far I was able to go. So I think there's at least some justification for me to believe that I might be able to go quite a bit farther, but obviously a 60-mile race is no joke. And looking at the results from last year in the 100K in my age bracket for men, the times were between about 5 hours on the fastest end and a little over 8 hours on the slowest end. And so then if I go back and I look at my average time, just kind of out there riding single track around, if I go that speed, I will not be finishing within 8 hours. So to do this, I'm going to need to ride longer than I ever have, farther than I ever have, at a faster speed than I typically do. I need to get fitter and I need to get faster. So what's going to change this year? Number one, structured training. I'm actually already working with a coach, and I'm a couple of months into my first real proper structured training plan. But I didn't have this particular goal in mind when we started this. My goal was just to kind of be fit for the beginning of the riding season, be in better shape than I usually am. So I'm going to have to probably do even more the closer that we get to that race day, which is not until July. So I still have a good amount of time to get into the shape that I need to get in. But there's no way that I'm getting there without structured training. That's a key part of it. I'm also going to be taking nutrition quite a bit more seriously. In the past, I typically just haven't eaten on rides at all, and nutrition or recovery, not really things that I've thought about. But obviously, for a 60-plus mile race, that's just not a valid strategy. If you're not eating, if you're not consuming calories, you will not finish. So I'm going to be taking that much more seriously, and I'm trying to already start to fold that into the structured training that I'm doing. So we'll see how that goes. Overall, I'm really excited about this goal. I'm also a little bit scared because I genuinely don't know if I can do it. I've done like 20-mile days, 30-mile days, I think, maybe a couple times, but there's a big difference between 30 and 60. And I got to tell you, even a 30-mile day feels difficult. But I'm planning to document this whole journey. I'm going to share it here on YouTube in bits and pieces, but my plan is also to kind of collect all those bits and pieces and turn it into a longer sort of video narrative about the whole experience of getting ready for and then doing that race. So if that's something that you're interested in, hopefully you'll stick around and check it out. That'll be on this channel too once I actually finish it, which is not going to be for a long time. But I'll be sharing periodic updates about the training, how things are going, what I'm doing as we get there. And the first one of those is coming right up. Because as I said, when I did that Mountain Mayhem race, I was riding a 35-pound aluminum enduro bike. My other bike is a trail bike that's 33 pounds now that I put carbon wheels on it. But again, this is not really the ideal piece of equipment for a 60-mile, essentially cross-country race, although there are some pretty legit trails that are part of it. So I have sold my fat bike and I picked up a different bike that's going to be the primary bike for this race. We're going to get into both of those things, why I sold the fat bike and what the new bike is in a future video. We're going to build it up and all that stuff, but we'll cover that later. I'm guessing that most of you that are watching this video, if you're a mountain biker as well, you probably have goals for yourself for 2024. And I'd love to hear about that. So drop a comment, let me know, what are your goals for riding this year? Are you working on new skills? Is there a race that you've got your eye on? Are you just hoping to get out there and have more fun, ride more days, whatever it is? It's always interesting to hear about that, and it's kind of inspiring to hear other people talk about the things they're working towards. So drop your story in the comments. If you have any advice for me about how to do like long marathon mountain bike races like this, drop that in the comments too, because I'm definitely going to need it. Like, for example, clipless pedals, is that really a thing that I need to do? I don't want to do it. I like flat pedals. But it seems like for this kind of thing, everybody uses clipless pedals. I don't really understand why. So if you have strong feelings there, let me know about that in the comments too. I guess we'll see. Anyway, stick around because this is bound to get interesting and possibly terrible. But yeah, I just wanted to give that update, and I will see you in the next one. We'll take a look at the new bike and maybe start building it up.